What's poppin', my high maintenance book club? It's your girl OG back to read the next little section of Speak with you guys. I hope you guys are enjoying the book so far. And with that being said, we gon' hop right into it. Spotlight. I find my locker after social studies. The lock sticks a little, but I open it. I dive into a stream of fourth period lunch students and swim down the hall to the cafeteria. I know enough not to bring lunch on the first day of high school. There's no way of telling what the acceptable fashion will be. Brown bags, humble testament to suburbia, or terminal geek gear, insulated lunch bags, hip way to save the planet, or sign of over-involved mother. Buying is the only solution, and it gives me time to scan the cafeteria for a friendly face or an inconspicuous corner. The hot lunch is turkey with reconstructed dried mashed potatoes and gravy, a damp green vegetable, and a cookie. I'm not sure how to order anything else, so I just slide my tray along and let the lunch drones fill it. This 8-foot senior in front of me somehow gets 3 cheeseburgers, french fries, and 2 ho-hos without saying a word. Some sort of Morse code with his eyes, maybe. Must study this farther. I follow the basketball pole into the cafeteria. I see a few friends, people I used to think were my friends, but they look away. Think fast, think fast. There's that new girl, Heather, reading by the window. I could sit across from her, or I could crawl behind a trash can, or maybe I could dump my lunch straight into the trash and keep moving right on out the door. The basketball pole waves to a table of friends. Of course, the basketball team. They all swear at him, a bizarre greeting practiced by athletic boys with zits. He smiles and throws a ho-ho. I try to scoot around him. So whop! A lump of potatoes and gravy hits me square in the center of my chest. All conversation stops as the entire lunchroom gawks my face, burning into their retinas. I will forever be known as that girl who got nailed by potatoes the first day. The basketball pole apologizes and says something else. But 400 people explode in laughter, and I can't read lips. I ditch my tray and bolt for the door. I motor so fast out of the lunchroom, the track coach would draft me for varsity if he were around. But no. Mr. Neck has cafeteria duty. And Mr. Neck has no use for girls who can run the 100 in under 10 seconds unless they're willing to do it holding on to a football. Mr. Neck, we meet again. Me. Would he listen to, I need to go home and change? Or, did you see what that bozo did? Not a chance. I keep my mouth shut. Mr. Neck, where do you think you're going? Me. It is easier not to say anything. Shut your trap. Button your lip. Can it? All that crap you hear on TV about communication and expressing feelings is a lie. Nobody really wants to hear what you have to say. Mr. Neck makes a note in his book. Mr. Neck makes a note in his book. I knew you were trouble the first time I saw you. I've taught here for 24 years, and I can tell what's going on in a kid's head just by looking into their eyes. No more warnings. You just earned a demerit for wandering the halls without a pass. Sanctuary. Art follows lunch, like a dream follows nightmare. The classroom is at the far end of the building and has long, south-facing windows. The sun doesn't shine much in Syracuse, so the art room is designed to get every bit of light it can. It is dusty in a clean dirt kind of way. The floor is layered with dry splotches of paint. The walls plastered with sketches of tormented teenagers and fat puppies. The shelves crowded with clay pots. A radio plays my favorite station. Mr. Freeman is ugly. Big old grasshopper body, like a stilt walking circus guy. Nose like a credit card, sunk between his eyes. But he smiles at us as we file into class. He is hunched over a spinning pot, his hands muddy red. Welcome to the only class that will teach you how to survive, he says. Welcome to art. I sit at a table close to his desk. Ivy is in this class. She sits by the door. I keep staring at her, trying to make her look at me. That happens in movies. People can feel it when other people stare at them, and they just have to turn around and say something. Either Ivy has a great force field, or my laser vision isn't very strong. She won't look back at me. I wish I could sit with her. She knows art. Mr. Freeman turns off the wheel and grabs a piece of chalk without washing his hands. Soul. He writes on the board. The clay streaks the word like dry blood. This is where you can find your soul, if you dare. Where you can touch that part of you that you've never dared to look at before. Don't come here and ask me how to show you how to draw a face. Ask me to help you find the wind. I sneak a peek behind me. The eyebrow telegraph is flashing fast. This guy is weird. He must see it. He must know what we're thinking. He keeps on talking. He says, we will graduate knowing how to read and write because we'll spend 1,000,000 hours learning how to read and write. I could argue that point. Mr. Freeman, why not spend that time on art? Painting, sculpting, charcoal, pastel, oils? Are words or numbers more important than images? Who decided this? Does algebra move you to tears? Hands raised, thinking he wants answers. Can the plural possessive express the feelings in your heart? If you don't learn art now, you will never learn to breathe. There is more. For someone who questions the value of words, he sure uses a lot of them. I tune out for a while and come back when he holds up a huge globe that is missing half of the northern hemisphere. Can anyone tell me what this is? He asks. A globe? Ventures a voice in the back. Mr. Freeman rolls his eyes. Was it an expensive sculpture that some kid dropped and he had to pay for it out of his own money, or they didn't let him graduate? Asked another. Mr. Freeman sighs. No imagination. What are you, 13? 14? You've already let them beat your creativity out of you. This is an old globe. I used to let my daughters kick around my studio when it was too wet to play outside. One day, Jenny put her foot right through Texas, and the United States crumbled into the sea, and voila, an idea. This broken ball could be used to express such powerful visions. You can paint a picture of, with it, people fleeing from the hole, with the wet-muzzled dog chewing Alaska. The opportunities are endless. It's almost too much. But you are important enough to give it to it. Huh? You will each pick a piece of paper out of the globe. He walks around the room so we can pull red scraps from the center of the earth. On the paper, you will find one word, the name of an object. I hope you like it. You will spend the rest of the year learning how to turn that object into a piece of art. You will sculpt it. You will sketch it, paper mache it, carve it. If the computer teacher is talking to me this year, you can use the lab for computer-aided designs. But there's a catch. By the end of the year, you must figure out how to make your object say something, express an emotion, speak to every person who looks at it. Some people groan. My stomach flutters. Can he really let us do this? It sounds like too much fun. He stops at my table. I plunge my hand into the bottom of the globe and fish out a paper. Tree. Tree? It's too easy. I learned how to draw a tree in 2nd grade. I reach in for another piece of paper. Mr. Freeman shakes his head. He says, you just chose your destiny. You can't change that. He pulls a bucket of clay from under the pottery wheel, breaks off fist-sized balls, and tosses one to each of us. Then he turns up the radio and laughs. Welcome to the journey. Espanol. My Spanish teacher is going to try to get through the entire year without speaking English to us. This is both amusing and useful, makes it much easier to ignore her. She communicates through exaggerated gestures and play acting. It's like taking a class in charades. She says a sentence in Spanish and puts the back of her hand to her forehead. You have a fever, someone from class yells out. She says the sentence in Spanish and puts the back of her hand to her forehead. You have a fever, someone calls out. She shakes her head no and repeats the gesture. You feel faint. No. She goes out to the hall, then bursts through the door looking busy and distracted. She turns to us, acts surprised to see us, then does the bit with the back of the hand to the forehead. You're lost. You're angry. You're in the wrong school. You're in the wrong country. You're on the wrong planet. She tries one more time and smacks herself so hard on the forehead she staggers a bit. Her forehead is as pink as her lipstick. The guesses continue. You can't believe how many kids are in this class. You forgot how to speak Spanish. You have a migraine. You're going to have a migraine if we don't figure it out. In desperation, she writes a sentence in Spanish on the board. Me sorprende que estoy tan cansada hoy. I hope I said that right because I don't know Spanish, so we gonna see. No one knows what it says. We don't understand Spanish. That's why we're here. Finally, some brain gets out a Spanish-English dictionary. We spend the rest of the period trying to translate the sentence. When the bell rings, we have gotten as far as to exhaust the day to surprise. And that is where we will be ending today. The next time we pick up our book, we will be starting with homework, which is always fun, right? I loved homework when I was in school. Didn't you guys? Anyways, I hope you guys are enjoying the book. And with that being said, your girl OG is out.